Hi guys, and welcome to another video where today we're going to be attempting to predict the scores and results for week 2 of this season's Premier League. But before we get on to this week's predictions, let's have a quick look back at how we got on last week.
Now last week I had 7 points, I got 1 perfect score and 5 correct results, that perfect score being the Friday night fixture between Man United and Leicester City.
And I had 11 points, I had 2 perfect scores correct and 7 correct results. The 2 perfect scores were the Manchester United victory over Leicester and the Southampton Burnley 0-0 draw. Looking in the comments section, a big shout out to James Carson, who managed to get a magnificent score of 15 points. He had 4 perfect scores and 6 correct results. So James, congratulations. If you want to join in the predictions this week, all you need to do is copy and paste the template of this week's fixtures that I'm going to leave in the description into your comment. Make your predictions, and if you're the top scorer, then like James Carson this week, you could have a shout out in the next video. If you're a member of the Bluebird Legends YouTube Fantasy Football League, then here is the top 12 positions in the league. As you can see, Eba Linguist, his team of Ilmefis, he came away with a great total of 92 points. Okay, Nathan, you're all the way down in 27th position. I need the Hoylett, you had 57 points. And I didn't have a great week, really. I'm down in 39th position with 48 points. But enough of last week, let's move on to this week's predictions.
Okay, so first up we're going to start off with the midday fixture between Cardiff and Newcastle. Both teams losing last week. Cardiff, I thought we were pretty unfortunate. We were without Kenneth Zohore, of course, and Harry Arter. Zohore being injured and Arter being unable to play. Newcastle lost 2-1 to Tottenham, kind of expected, but really tough one to predict. Gotta have faith in Cardiff though. I think we'll be able to pull off a win at home. We gotta win this really. I'd say close match, 2-1 Cardiff. Going to be a great atmosphere down at the Cardiff City Stadium on the weekend. Yeah,
I think this is going to be a very tough match for Cardiff, but I think it's going to be a tough match for Newcastle as well. The crowd are going to be well up for this one. You know, I know that Newcastle are used to big crowds and everything, but I think the atmosphere at the Cardiff City Stadium this weekend is going to be something special. And I can see the fans pushing the team on to victory. Hopefully Kenneth Zohore will be back, because he was sorely missed last weekend holding the ball up. It'd be good to see Harry Arter as well from a loanee from Bournemouth in the centre midfield, along with probably Joe Rolls, and possibly, I think it'll be Reed in there as well. I think the loan signing of Real Betis' Casemiro probably will be on the bench this weekend, but I can see this one, as I said, a very narrow 1-0 win to Cardiff City. Moving on to the second fixture, we got West Ham against Bournemouth. West Ham getting stuffed really against Liverpool last week. I was a little bit surprised. I thought they might have put a bit of a fight against Liverpool, which they had a couple of chances, but Liverpool themselves could have scored 6 or 7. Bournemouth, really, you could say they were worthy winners against Cardiff, although Cardiff did have their chances and probably a little bit unfortunate not to come away with a 1-1, but on the balance of things, Bournemouth did deserve that victory anyway. In this match, West Ham, they brought in a load of players. Whether they're going to gel this week. Bournemouth played well last week. It's going to be very close, and I can see this one ending 1-1.
So I can actually see Bournemouth getting the upper hand on this one. Really, West Ham, they did look terrible against Liverpool last week. They need to get some of their new signings like Yarmolenko get firing in goals into that goal as well as Arnautovic being on fire in goal as he was last season, or is it scoring the goals as I should say. I have a feeling that Bournemouth are going to go to the Olympic Stadium and carve out a narrow 1-0 win. Okay, so next up we got an interesting fixture between Leicester and Wolves. Leicester losing 2-1 to Man United on the opening day of the Premier League. What can I say really? Close match, but Man United were just too strong. Wolves looked excellent against Everton, really close match. Best match last week, but I can see this one being a stalemate. I can see it being 1-1.
Yeah, I can see this one be a very close match as well. Leicester, a little unfortunate, I think, against Manchester United, really, and Manchester United with Pogba and Luke Shaw surprisingly scoring as well. I think, actually, in fact, mentioning Luke Shaw, somebody last week triple captained in fantasy football Luke Shaw and come away with 33 points. Unbelievable. I know, crazy. Anyway, moving back on to the predictions. Leicester narrowly losing 2-1 against Manchester United. Wolves had it was a fine draw against Everton at Molineux. Brilliant atmosphere. First game back in the Premier League for Wolves. Ruben Neves popped up with a superb free kick as well. This week, though, I think pace of Vardy at front, the know-how of Leicester in the Premier League. Wolves are going to put up a good fight, but I think Leicester are going to win this one 2-1.
Interesting.
Next up, we've got Spurs against Fulham. Spurs had a good victory away against Newcastle last weekend up at St James's Park. Newcastle did cause them problems. Spurs, Harry Kane didn't look his usual self, looked a little bit sluggish to me. Dele Alli did look sharp though. Fulham last week, of course, were at home against Crystal Palace. Fulham did have plenty of chances. Mitrovic, I think he had 6 or 7 attempts on goal, which was the highest of anybody in the Premier League last week. I think Fulham will score this week, but I think Spurs are going to be too strong for them. Yeah. Back at Wembley, of course, until their stadium is ready. And I can see Spurs running out 3-1 in this fixture.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Spurs are absolutely going to run away with this one. I don't think they're going to run away with it like Liverpool did against West Ham last week, but I just think Spurs will just be strong. I reckon it'll be a 2-0 victory to Tottenham. Next up, we've got Everton versus Southampton. Everton looking good after that draw versus Wolves. Really tough fixture, as I said. Southampton, 0-0 draw with Burnley. Quite a boring match, but I can see Everton demolishing Southampton, to be honest.
Do you think
demolishing them?
Do you think 50 million or 40 million, whatever he was, Richarlison?
50 million Richarlison, I can see scoring another 2 goals. I reckon it's going to be 3-1 to Everton.
Yeah, it's strange because this season Richarlison started like a house on fire. Really good for Watford in the early stages of last season. We'll see how it pans out throughout this season as well. Will that form dip again? Remains to be seen. My take on this one, I think Everton are going to be a little bit too strong at home at Goodison Park for Southampton. Southampton struggling really to score goals. I know it was 0-0 early parts of the season. They have brought in the strikers, like they've got Danny Ings, they've got Shane Long, Gabbiadini, Charlie Austin, you know, a wealth of talent up front. But can they be provided the ammunition for them to unleash their goal scoring talents on Everton? I don't think so. I think they will get the one, but I think Everton are going to prove too strong for them, and I'm going for it. And Toffees 2-1 victory. Moving on to the next match, we've got possibly the biggest match of the weekend in Chelsea against Arsenal. Arsenal last week had a difficult fixture, a real difficult opening to their season. Last week, of course, they lost against Manchester City. I don't think they're going to find it easy again this weekend. They had really trouble making any sort of forays onto the goal at Manchester City last week. Maybe they were playing it around at the back too much. Arsenal need to get it forward a lot quicker. I think Chelsea are going to be too strong for them, and I'm going for a 2-1 win to the Blues.
Yeah, I can see a 2-1 victory as well to Chelsea, to be honest. I'd say Unai Emery really needs time to bond with his squads and get the squad rolling into the good PSG side that he fielded when he was manager of PSG. So I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory to Chelsea as well. One
thing I noticed last week in the Chelsea match was Sarri. He looked like he'd come out of Casualty, you know, the TV programme Casualty. He was wearing the surgeon's get-up.
Yeah, as well as chewing his cigarettes on the sideline because smoking in British stadiums is illegal as well.
That's right, because I think when he was back in Italy, he was like a chimney really on the sideline. So, okay, moving on to Sunday's fixtures, we got first up Manchester City against Huddersfield. Man City, of course, as we've already said, had a great victory against Arsenal away on the opening weekend of the season. Huddersfield suffered that 3-0 defeat against Chelsea at home. I can see pain again for Huddersfield. You'd have thought they'd have been harder to beat on the first weekend. Coming up against this Man City steamroller of a team, only one winner for me, 4-0 Manchester City.
Totally agree with you. Man City too strong. De Bruyne is injured. That might keep him out for quite a while by the looks of things. Man City like to rotate as well, so they'll probably do a rotation, probably put Jesus on, because Huddersfield, they don't look too good in my opinion at the moment, so I totally agree with you with a 4-0 victory.
Yeah, I just hope that Aguero plays, because I'm thinking of putting him a captain for my fantasy football team, but I'll make that decision on Friday.
I think Jesus will play.
We'll see. Maybe they'll both get
on. And then they'll rest him for the next week's game week, because I think Man City have got quite a hard fixture. Can't remember who it was, but... Okay, next up we got Burnley versus Watford. Burnley couldn't get anything from the match against Southampton last week. Watford won 2-0, comfortable victory against Brighton. Maybe I should rework my original predictions. I think I've got the Watford one massively wrong. I reckon that Burnley can pull something out of this match with their good home form. And I'd say this is going to be a 1-0 Burnley victory. Sorry, Watford fans.
Yeah, Burnley very, very good at home last season.
Yeah.
They are in Europa League and everything, so we'll see how their season pans out. Watford had a very good game last week. 2-0 winners, of course, as you said, against Brighton. Tough nut to crack at home, Burnley, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this one. Next up, we got the penultimate game of the weekend, which is Brighton against Manchester United. Brighton, like Burnley last season, strong at home, not so good away. Man United coming off that 2-1 victory last week. I think they're going to win this one again. It's going to be tough, it's going to be narrow, but I think their class is going to shine through in the end, and I can see a Manchester United Red Devils 1-0 win.
Yeah, I can see Man United dominating this fixture as well. I just think they're too strong for Brighton. Brighton have had a tough start to the season in my opinion, so I think it's going to be a 2-0 win to Man United. And finally, last up, Monday Night Football. We have got Crystal Palace versus Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Liverpool 4-0 winners against West Ham. They just look unstoppable this season. Their defence fixed, midfield fixed, and they just look dominant, and they're just going to score at least 3 goals.
You predicted them to win the league, haven't you?
I just think they're going to score at least 3 goals every single game. Crystal Palace looked really good against Fulham last week, but I just can see Liverpool just dominating because of how good their squad is. And I think it's going to be a 2-0 Liverpool victory.
Even though you said that they were going to be scoring 3 goals.
Yes, but I think it's going to be...
apart from this
I don't know what I'm saying, but I think it's going to, most weeks I think they're going to score over 3.
Okay. Yeah, this Crystal Palace looked very good, you could say, against Fulham. Fulham did have their chances, but the full-backs for Crystal Palace were immense. Wan-Bissaka and Van Aanholt looked really good, really impressed. Schlupp as well, I think he's a defender, came up with a goal as well. Good victory away.
Unfortunately, he was on the bench for my fantasy football.
Yes,
which was annoying.
Liverpool, as we said, totally destroyed that West Ham team last week. I think Liverpool are going to win this one as well, but Crystal Palace, they're going to be full of confidence after that fine win. But I think Liverpool are going to win this one 2-1. I think Palace are going to push them all the way.
Yeah.
So that's it for our predictions for week 2 of the Premier League season 2018-2019. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to leave a template of these fixtures in the description. All you need to do is copy and paste them into your comment, and like James Carson last week, you can get a shout out in the next video. And if you'd like to join our Fantasy Football League, then I will leave the league code in the description as well. But for now, guys, enjoy the weekend's football. We're going to go and watch Cardiff against Newcastle. Hopefully Cardiff will win. We both predicted a Bluebirds victory, but we'll see what happens. But for now, we'll bid you farewell, and we'll see you in the next video.
Cheers, guys.